Hello students, today we are going to discuss about the pharmacognostical scheme of crude drugs. So when it comes to the pharmacognostical scheme of crude drugs, we need to study about the how we are going to study the crude drug. What are the major information we are supposed to study under the pharmacognostical scheme. So to describe the drugs in a systematic manner is known as a pharmacognostical scheme, which includes the following headings. The first one is the biological source, right? So this includes the biological names of plants or animals yielding the drug and family to which it belongs, right? So whatever the part we are using, right, root, stem, fruit, flower, bark, what is the part, latex, juice, extract, what kind of part we are using as a crude drugs which is yielding the drug or which is yielding the chemical constituents of, if it is animal part, right, like thyroid gland or any epithelial cells or any part, what is the type, what is the hormone, enzyme, what we are using, that we need to put into the biological source, and its a family, its a biological name, the botanical name or scientific name, and the family supposed to be there. Second point, botanical name includes genus and species. Often some abbreviations are written after the botanical name of the abbreviations of the biologist responsible for the classification. For example, Acacia arabica wild. Here, wild indicates the botanist responsible for the classification or nomenclature, right? So it includes genus and species, right? For example, you can see in Acacia arabica wild. So acacia is the name of the genus and the arabica is the name of species, where the wild is the abbreviations, which means that here it indicates the botanist responsible for the classification or nomenclature, right? So under biological source, the third point, according to the biennial theory, the botanical name of any plant or animal is always written in italic form, right? You can see Acacia arabica, how it has written, it has written in italic form, it is banded the letters, right? And the first letter of a genus always appears in a capital letter. So here you can see in the Acacia arabica wild, the acacia is the genus name, where the a letter, the first letter, it is in capital, right? So it should be in italic, and the first letter of the genus should be capital, and the abbreviation which will indicate the other further description of the plant or animal, right? Under the fourth point, the biological source also includes the family and the part of the drug used, right? Which part we are using, that is very important. For example, biological source of senna is senna consists of dried leaflet, right? So dried leaflets is the name of the part, which part is having the active chemical constituents which is responsible to give the therapeutic value of Acacia angustifolia. It is the genus name and species name. Acacia. Acacia is the name of the genus, where C is the in capital letter, and angustifolia, it is the species name. Delight, right, belonging to family Leguminosae. So Leguminosae is the name of the family where this drug belongs. This drug belongs to this particular family. So in biological source, three things supposed to mention: the part which we are using as a crude drugs, and the botanical name or scientific name of the crude drugs, and that particular crude drugs belongs to which family. Suppose if it is plant, so which it belongs to which family. Suppose it is animal, it belongs to which family, that also we need to include. The second point under pharmacognostical scheme, that is the geographical source, right? Here it includes the area of cultivation, collection, and route of the transport of the drug, right? So geographical means where the geography, the location, where the area where the agroclimatic requirement is suitable for the growth of the particular plant or for the cultivation of the particular plant. Everything it is required, right? What is the kind of soil, what is the water holding capacity of the soil, what is the rainfall, what is the temperature, what is the climatic, whether it is dry weather or it is cool weather, and what is the kind of microorganisms are there, kind of insect, kind of pest, kind of fertilizers, manners, which season it is suitable for the showing up or propagation of the seed, or what time it is suitable for the collection of the particular crude drugs. So everything supposed to be suitable as per the plant, then only the plant can grow at that particular locality or that particular location. So which location it is belonging, that we need to describe under the geographical source, which is second point under pharmacognostical scheme. Coming to the third point, cultivation, collection and preparation. These are important to mention as these are the responsible for quality of drug, right? So what are the cultivation parameters, right? So how much seeds are required for the propagation? It is propagated by seeds, root, rhizomes, stolon. What part we are using, right? What is the kind of rainfall it is required? How much seed it is, how much rhizomes it is required for the per hectare land? How the land we are going to propagate, how we are land we are going to plugged, how many times it is required, what is the kind of manure, manners, dungs or fertilizers, and irrigation, how much time it is required every 15 days or every 7 days, when we are going to irrigate the plant, how much distance supposed to be there between two plant, or if it is raw, what should be the distance between one raw to another raw, right? Then what is the time of collection? Suppose if you have propagated the seeds into the month of July, so what is the time of collection or maturity of the crude drugs into that particular medicinal crop, that we need to know or we need to mention under this point. And after collection, what is the kind of preparation is required to store the crude drug and to transport the crude drug. These are all the things we need to mention, right from the soil pH, soil quality, particle size of the soil, right? So everything here we need to mention, which is related to cultivation, collection and the preparation of crude drugs, right? Coming to the fourth point, morphological characters of crude drug, right? In case of organized drug, the length, the width, thickness, surface, color, odor, taste, shape, etc. are covered under this, right? Under this heading, right? Suppose organized drug, for example, senna is known as a organized drug, where the histological characters it will be in organized manner. Suppose if you will go for the microscopical study, you will get the upper epidermis, lower epidermis, vascular bundle, xylem, phloem, palisade cells, trichomes, stomata. So it will be in one configuration, right? One pattern. That's what it is called organized drug. So here we need to mention the length. What is the length of the leaf? What is the how much or how much centimeter? What is the width of the leaf? What is the thickness of the leaf, and the surface, how it is, the hairy trichomes are there or what kind of trichomes are there? What is the color of the leaf after collection? What kind of order it is composed, right? So order means what is the aroma, or what is the kind of smell it is having, taste, if it is sweet taste, pungent taste, sour taste, what kind of shape it is, lanceolate, oval, what is the shape, right? That we need to mention under the morphological characters. Whereas organoleptic properties like color, odor, taste and surface should be mentioned if the drug is unorganized. Unorganized is the sense the drugs, the histological character, it is not organized one. For example, Acacia arabica lin, right? So acacia, it is the carbohydrate containing crude drugs which is obtained from the branches of the tree. If you will make the incision, so whatever the liquid will come out, the juicy liquid, will come out, which it will get solidify, right? And the tears will be irregular, so where we cannot go for the microscopical study of that particular crude drug. So in such case we are not going to mention the length, width, thickness, surface, right? We are going to mention only the color, odor, taste and surface of the crude drug. Coming to the next point, the microscopical characters of the crude drug. This is the one of the important aspects of pharmacognosy, as it helps in stabilizing the correct identity of the crude drugs. Under this heading, all the detailed microscopical characters of drugs is described, right? So microscopic means we are going to cut the TS, the transverse section of the crude drugs, and we are going to observe under the microscope. When we are observing under the microscope, the drug is supposed to give its what is the histological character it is having. Suppose if it is root, so what is the cork, cambium, right? What is the type of medullary race, what is the kind of stone cells, starch grain, phloem fibers, xylem, right? If it is leaf, I told you the upper epidermis, xylem, phloem, vascular bundle, palisade cells, lower epidermis, trichome. So like that, what are the histological characters it is incorporated in the crude drugs when you will go for the microscopical examination, that we need to mention here along with the image, right? The TS image supposed to be there, right? The next one is the chemical constituents. The most important aspects which determines the intrinsic value of a drug to which it is used is generally described under this heading, right? So what is the chemical constituent? For example, morphine from opium. So morphine is the main chemical constituent which is having potent analgesic activity. That's what we are cultivating for the opium. Or nicotine from tobacco. So tobacco, in tobacco plant there is a nicotine chemical constituent which is having the medicinal value. So what is the type of chemical constituents it is there in that particular part of the plant or that particular part of the animal which is having therapeutic value or that we can use as a crude drugs. The second point, it includes the chemical constituents present in the drug. These kind of drugs are physiologically active, right? That's what we are considering these plants as a medicinal plant, because the chemical constituents which is there into that plant, that is having the physiological active. When it will be administered to the biological system, it will show some types of physiological changes or it will show the therapeutic value. Then it will show the it will have the therapeutic property. That's what it is known as a crude drugs. And this particular, what is the type of chemical constituent? Alkaloid, glycoside, tannin, volatile resin, right? To carbohydrate. What is the type of crude drugs? We need to know under this category. And coming to the next point under pharmacological scheme, that is the uses. What is the use of that particular crude drugs, right? It includes its pharmacological, pharmaceutical, pharmacological and biological activity of drugs or the disease in which it is effective, right? So coming to the pharmaceutical means during the manufacturing, what are the pharmaceutical aids or pharmaceutical necessity we are supposed to required? For example, suspending agent, emulsifying agent, binders, adhers, right? Binding agent, colorant, sweetener. So these are also coming from the natural sources or from the plant only, right? For example, starch. Starch is coming from the rice, wheat. These are the obtained from plant only. And the starch is used into the tablet manufacturing and in the body talc or talcum powders. So where are there also we are using so many minerals like choline, calamine, lotion. It is there, right? So in cotton is used as a surgical cotton. It is used as a filter or the pore size of the filter, or in the surgical activities where we are using this pharmaceutical necessity. Coming to the pharmacological and biological activity, right? So what is the pharmacological action? For example, atropine from Atropa belladonna, right? So which is having which will dilate the eye pupil, right? So likewise, if you will take the senna example, senna is having senoside A, B, C and D. So which will convert into the cynidine A, B, C and D, right? So which will give the effect of purgative. So Rauwolfia, in Rauwolfia there is a reserpine which is having activity onto the reducing the blood pressure, right? Antihypertensive drug. So likewise, each and every drug it is studying because of it is having the particular type of chemical constants, or because of the presence of particular type of chemical constants, it is giving the particular types of physiological action or use, whether it is anti-diabetic, analgesic, anti-inflammatory, antidepressant. What is the kind of use that we need to study under this point. Next one is the substituents, right? Substituents means the drug which is used during the non-availability of original drug is known as a substituent. It has the same type of physiological active constituents. However, the percentage of the quantity of the drug available may be different, right? So in the name of original crude drugs, when we are selling or when we are considering the another inferior quality of crude drugs, that is known as a substituent, which is replacing the drug, replacing the original drug, right? That when the substitution occur, suppose for example sandalwood oil or sandalwood, so sandalwood can grow in the particular forest only. So whatever the sandalwood it is available in the local market, that may not be the original sandalwood, but it is being sold by the name of original sandalwood. Or in the case of fennel, or in the case of naga kesar, or so many other drugs are there, where the in the name of original crude drugs, the another kind of drugs which is looking similar, that we are selling or that we are considering that this is the original crude drug, which is replacing completely the original crude drug because of the non availability or rare availability of the original crude drug, right? So that's name of the substituent for the particular drug. What may be the substituents for that particular drug which we are studying, that we need to mention under this topic, that is called the substituents. Coming to the next point under the pharmacognostical scheme, that is the adulterants. Adulterants which will be involved into the process of adulteration. With the knowledge of the diagnostic characters of the drug, the adulterants can be detected. One should have the critical knowledge of the substance known to be potential adulterants. Most of the times the adulterants are completely devoid of physiological active constituents, which leads to the deterioration of the quality of crude drugs. For example, mixing of buffalo milk with the goat milk is substitution, whereas the mixing of the water in the milk is adulteration. In the first case, goat milk is substituted by the to the buffalo milk, and the second case, water is adulterant. So now it is very clear, right? What is the adulteration, what is the substitution? That difference we should know very clear. So in adulteration, we are mixing the inferior quality of crude drug into the original crude drug to increase the bulk quantity for marketing purpose or for commercial purpose, right? So what is the other similar looking substances or inferior quality of the crude drugs for that particular crude drug which we can mix, that we need to know. What are the adulterant for the adulteration? Adulteration actually it is the malpractice which is going on into the herbal market trade worldwide, right? So the name of the species, the name of the drug which can be adulterant for that particular drug, that we need to understand. Here the in example you can see the buffalo milk with goat milk, it is substituent. Means suppose buffalo milk is not available, so in the name of buffalo milk we can sell the goat milk thinking that this is the buffalo milk. So that is the substitution, it is completely replacement. But when we will mix the water on the buffalo milk and the quantity of the buffalo milk will increase, suppose in 10 liter if you will add the 5 liter of water, it will become 15 liter of buffalo milk. So the quantity increased and you will get, when you will sell the buffalo milk 15 liter, you will get the price of the 15 liter, whereas the 5 liter is only water, that is the adulterant, or that is this process is called adulteration, which is actually the malpractice which is going on into the herbal drug market or in the almost all the, even in the rice grain or all other fruit vegetable also it is going on, right? Coming to the next point, chemical test. Here we need to trace the adulterant or substitution, right? The knowledge of the chemical test become more important in case of unorganized drug whose morphology is not well defined. Suppose the benzoin, suppose the resin, or in carbohydrate containing crude drugs, latex, juice, or so many decoction which is used as a crude drugs, where the things are not organized, we cannot trace it out by the microscopical examination. So in that case we need to know the what are the active constituents are there in unorganized drug, and we will perform the chemical test or chemical identification with the suitable reagent. Suppose if it is for example acacia, it is a carbohydrate containing crude drug, so we can perform the Molish test, right? So we'll come to know that whether the carbohydrate quantity is there or not, right? suppose it's senna in that anthraquinone glycoside. So anthraquinone glycoside we can perform the Born trigger test. So if right, so many other the aloe vera juice, actually it is used as a crude drug. So juice is unorganized crude drug. So when it comes to the unorganized, so juice we cannot go for transfer section, or we cannot go for microscopical examination. We need to perform the what you call glycoside test. What are the glycoside identification test? Then only we will come to know whether the glycosidal contents are present in that particular crude drug or not, right? So chemical test, it is very important to trace out the adulterant and substitution, right? So this is the different points where we need to